The majority of clubs treat girls just like fodder.
There certainly is a stigma attached to stripping in any form.
We're like walking flesh ATM machines.
We're just exploited financially without having any kind of rights.
There's no real legislation to protect us. I presented the idea to everyone that we could form a collective, and that was the beginning. My name is Stacey Claire. I am a striptease artist. I do lots of other jobs as well on the side. I work in an art gallery as a bookkeeper and I organise events. I first got into stripping when I was 22. I was learning how to pole dance and I was becoming quite confident on stage and performing at parties. And I just thought, well, I'll give it a go, you know. I studied at art school, and when I was a student I did a project where I set up life drawing classes with a pole dancer as the model, and that gave me a framework for beginning to create something. So because that's like an event that's entirely organised by me and the girls who I've been working with, no one else kind of interferes. You know, it's very much our thing. We effectively started running a small business, and that was the beginning. We've been running the life drawing classes now for over 3 years. That's helped us generate the idea that we could do a bigger business and carry on working together like this. We've generally always booked models who are part of the collective. It's a good opportunity for the dancers to kind of do their job in a different context. For me, this kind of crossover between the art world and our world is just so clear. Historically, it's, of course, you know, Degas and Manet were drawing dancers. The relationship between sex and high art is so there. And for the dancers to have the opportunity at being a muse is, for me, it's empowering.
My name is Kitty Velour and I'm part of the East London Strippers Collective. I am 20 years old. I was brought up by my grandparents and I live with my brother as well. I was really shy as a child. I did not like performing in any aspect whatsoever or being the centre of attention. My grandparents are actually Jehovah's Witnesses. I do feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself to kind of live up to the expectations of that religion. And then, yeah, when I was kind of 15, I kind of found it was too hard and I wanted to rebel, and I went through a phase where I just kind of went out and was partying and all that kind of stuff. I started pole dancing when I was 16, just taking classes, and then I started stripping just after I turned 18. My experience with stripping has changed quite a lot from when I first started. I think at the beginning, like, the novelty of it was really exciting. To me, it was just like this magical wonderground of lingerie and glitter and kind of glamour. But it's actually quite a hard job and it's quite emotionally draining. The managers just have a lot of power over the girls because they're scared of losing their jobs and they kind of monopolise the industry. So people don't really stand up for them because it could be putting their own job at risk, and we just don't have any grounds to stand on, to be honest.
We don't get any sort of contract of services between the dancer and the venue, then if we get sacked, by law it doesn't matter. Like, club owners never need to prove anything.
At the moment we have no employment rights. So we're in a loophole of self-employment but also vulnerable to contractual obligements. We're just exploited financially without having any kind of rights.
They just see us as cash. We get the cash, they can take cash off us.
In some clubs you get fined if you miss your shift. Like in one particular club that I worked at, missing your Saturday shift, you get fined £150. So next time you come to work, you need to pay a house fee, which is like £70, £80, depends on the time you come in, and £150 fine.
Hang on, we have to pay to work, but the customers come to see us. So if we weren't here, you wouldn't have a business, you know, like, what? The effect of 2009 was to double the stigma around strip clubs. It was very, very detrimental. Dancers didn't ultimately get a say in the public debate. I mean, when it came to the actual debate in Parliament, the people representing the industry were the club owners.
We experienced an uptake in house fees and maybe a decrease in ability to work in various clubs.
The emphasis is now, as far as money's concerned, on lap dancing, hustling, creating relationships with regulars. You basically don't get paid for being a great pole dancer so much anymore.
The industry has changed. It's got smaller, it's got more competitive. There are less clubs to work in, so more dancers competing for the same work, which has only increased the levels of, you know, what will you be prepared to do for the money and how much shit you'll be prepared to put up with.
The main thing about the collective is that we are seeking to change stigma towards dancers.
I think there's a variety of bad things that people think, but they think that you're really easy and you just like sleep with everybody, sleep around.
People immediately presume that they can ask you how much money you make.
All strippers are drug addicts and they have like drug problems.
They don't have any redeemable qualities, that they're like trashy and they're slutty and they're nasty.
Or you're such a poor girl, like someone abused you in a childhood and you know you're probably like a single mom and you know, so that's why you really need to do this job, like you're such a poor soul, I'm gonna save you from that. That's like really annoying because we all choose to do this job and most of us are quite happy with it.
We don't feel like we are examples of victims who have been kind of like forced into the industry. Loads of us are there because we really love what we do.
I was always happy to be a stripper. I don't want to change job. What I want is to have better conditions, and what I want as well is not to feel that I've got to justify every time why I've chosen this job, and to justify that yes, it's okay to do it. You don't question these things with other jobs.
I mean, I'm sure there are people that haven't had the best start in life, but you get that in all walks of life, and I don't see why it should necessarily be attributed to people who wear sparkly lingerie.
Next weekend is Valentine's Day and we were invited back to Red Gallery in Shoreditch to do a party, which we then decided to kind of extend into like a sort of mini festival, a weekend of ELSC events.
It's an opportunity for all of the dancers to sell some of the outfits that they don't want anymore or they don't need anymore.
We thought, well, stripper wear Valentine's, and I thought, what's more romantic than getting in my pants, literally? Here are my pants, you can get into them, you'll buy them.
We're very kind of open, very helpful towards one another, and very often you would end up like coming to a fair like this and someone would come over and say, oh, I really love these, like, oh, I wish I could have them, and you'd be like, oh, are you going to use them? Then have them, just. And there's a lot of generosity and a lot of this kind of sharing spirit, which I love about the strippers community.
Today is Valentine's Day. We are holding some workshops and we're kind of wanting to share the more sexy style of pole and kind of stripper-style dancing, and we're going to do a bit of pole work and flair around the pole as well as tricks, and then we're also doing some floor work moves. And we're trying to kind of show people more about what kind of things that we do as strippers and how we are quite skilled performers, and it is a kind of skill and art form. I normally do like choreo or floor work is kind of my speciality, and I always sort of do things with heels as well, like dancing in heels.
What's happening tonight is Diamond Dolls, East London Strippers Collective presents Valentine's special at the Red Gallery, and we've got like a really good lineup of performers tonight and some really good DJs, so hopefully everyone will just come and have a nice time.
Welcome to Valentine's Day, stripper style. We are ELSE.
What we're doing at the moment is we're experimenting with business models. I mean, as much as a party is great for us to make a bit of money and get the public in and, you know, get our name out, it's also very good practice for us together as a group. You know, never mind what you see, but what goes on backstage and the way we work together and the way we figure stuff out. Like, this is all business for us, and we've never had to do that before.
The collective is definitely a sisterhood, and we all support each other. We are a team rather than in the clubs when it can be quite competitive.
The thing that brings us together is a shared love of performing and creating an idea, creating the possibility that things could be done differently, that we could do it ourselves. Creating an alternative to strip clubs for dancers is a big thing for me. One of the messages of the collective is we know what the problems are, we know what the potential solutions are. We'd like to be consulted, we'd like to have a say, we'd like to do something about the situation.
The ELSC would like to set up their own club, but with this nil policy that's in effect in many boroughs, it makes it quite hard to compete with the models that are already there.
Career-wise, I do want to go back to uni and study. I'd really like to pursue like my pole dancing aspirations and like teach more and kind of build up that side of things. And then I feel like stripping will just be like every now and again.
I have quite enough options, you know. I'm not gonna like stay in a strip club until 45 and thinking, you know, there's nothing else I can do. Like, there's plenty of other things that are possible to do and I would potentially enjoy doing.
I would really like to show people that stripping can be an art form and can be really beautiful.
I would love to make more and more events where people get to know us and they start changing and opening their minds, hopefully.
Casting Couch, it's just a series made to bring new girls to the fans. It's an interview process that introduces them, and hopefully you get a girl who's still new enough that you're capturing that, I don't want to say innocence, but that quality that she will eventually lose once she starts focusing more on performing and less on just being herself.